Hey syndicates, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to talk to you guys about my favorite brushes for detailing. I create a lot of intricate looks and a lot of complex, maximalist, avant-garde looks, so of course I'm going to need a wide range of brushes. Now the biggest misconception that a lot of people have is that I use makeup brushes only, but I only use them to a certain extent because there's a lot of detailing that uses water-activated face paints and also certain creams that are just not compatible with the makeup brushes that I have for eyeshadows and foundation and beauty blenders and all that stuff. It would easily ruin these things. So I'm gonna give you guys more insight on the types of brushes that maybe you can use in order to create more complex and out there looks, because all I wanna do is make you guys be more creative. And make sure to stay until the very end of the video because I'm gonna show you where I got my brushes, plus some examples of how I've been using the brushes in my own artwork. With that being said, let's get right into it. What I'm about to show you is very messy. I did not prepare for this video in the way to make it look nice and shimmery and all glammed up and stuff. I am organized, but this immediate thing you're about to see is an organized chaos. Ta-da! What I'm holding right now is an acrylic organizer that I actually took from my sister. I also have other acrylic organizers where I put all my makeup in, but this one sits right in front of me, and this is where I put my brushes. A lot of people tend to just keep them in these packets that they come in. I have a bunch of professional brushes that came in these leather cases. This is really great if you're working with clients and you need to like tie them around your waist, but for a content creator, I always do makeup sitting down, so I need them within arm's reach. This is not all of the brushes that I have. The way that I organize these brushes is that I have all the big ones, including some of the fans and like the flat foundation brushes right here. And then in front of it, which is closer to me, I have all the smaller detailed brushes that I can grab. And then I have my beauty blenders that sit right next to it. Whoa, wait, look at this. It's a silicone blender, so cute. So I know this video is about detailed brushes, but I also want to go through some of the bigger brushes that I have that are really, really great for blending creams and special effects type of makeup. To apply a lot of the white face paints, I'll use a foundation brush like so. To blend it out, I will use a brush such as this one. This one's a Sephora complexion brush. There's not much space between the bristles. It allows me to be able to blend things really well, especially on the face when it's creams. So I have different versions and different sizes of that, like any of these work, so if I use this one, then I'll blend with that one. I would avoid, for blending creams, any of these powder blush brushes. They're not good when it comes to creams because of how fluffy they are. The fluffy ones are meant for powder. This is another really great one. I think this is one of my favorite ones. It's from NYX. You can feel it as you're like kind of brushing your own skin to see how tightly the bristles are together. Other than that, I do have a couple of other brushes of different sizes. They're good for other reasons. Obviously, these are all more powder brushes. So if I have any setting powders or finishing powders, I need to brush off the excess. Anything like these really fluffy ones, I recommend the bigger the better because it gets off the powder faster without rubbing too much on the face. But any of these like medium sizes are good. This also is good for highlights. Now onto the powder versus cream eyeshadow brushes. So we had the big ones, now we have kind of the small ones, but not the teeny tiny detailed ones just yet. These are synthetic brushes that are really great for powders and blending powders out. Around the eye area, I love using these types of brushes. As you can see, they kind of have a rounded tip. Then for eyeshadows, you just have like the regular eyeshadow brushes. For creams, flat brushes are your friend, and geometric looks, angled brushes are your best friend. And this is really awesome when I'm using my grease paints. So my grease paints, I need to like pull back and it will just give me this like very, very smooth line. For face paints, these are pretty good as well. You just have to be careful of the consistency between too watery and too dry of paint. It'll give you two completely different textures and you can build on it. And if you want a video more specifically about water activated paints versus cream paints that are waterproof, wax based, alcohol based, then make sure to leave a comment below and maybe you'll see a video of that next. These angled brushes are really great for sharp edges. To get certain textures, like messy lines, we kind of just use the same techniques as if we were painting with acrylic or watercolor. This is a small fan brush, which is really great for if you're creating lines. If you use them with water-activated paint, the bristles essentially will sort of clump together, almost like a bad mascara brush. That'll actually give you really, really cool line textures on the face. And speaking of mascara, this is angled liner with a spoolie, and spoolies are really great to get rid of any like dried mascara that has fallen out, or maybe like powder that's fallen out under your eye. But it's also really good for if you wanted to create any dotted texture with creams or even water activated. Like, it's very versatile, these things. But these are kind of like the types of brushes that people overlook because they don't know how to use them creatively. On the opposite side of this is a Sephora brush. It does have kind of the same angled tip, and it's also flat, which is really great for creams. So these are actually brow and lash groomer brushes. These brow and lash groomer brushes are really, really great for splatter paint effects. So all you need to do is take this edge, dip it into water activated paints, face paints, make sure it's really watery, and you use it kind of like a toothbrush. If you do have an old toothbrush, it has the same bristle type. So you're just going to take this and just do that. Just kind of brush it like this against your skin, but just slightly in front of your skin so that if it's further away, you're gonna get bigger splatters, and then closer, you're gonna get smaller splatters. Now we're actually gonna talk about the art detailed brushes. There are several sizes of these, and there's so many different types. They can get kind of pricey, but honestly, some of the pricier ones are worth it. You just have to see what you need. When you have these detailed brushes, look at the fraction or the number at the top here. So this one is 0, 0. That is the size of this brush. This is an example of 3/0, and as you can see the size difference, the 3/0 is just slightly bigger than the other one. The smallest one I personally use is a 20/0. These were actually kind of hard to find. The difference between a 0/0 and a 20/0 is quite significant. If you can't find these detailed brushes in wherever you live, you can also use something like this, which is actually a makeup brush. I don't know exactly what this type of brush is called. If you do know, leave it in the comments because I don't even know what the brushes are called. This one comes with makeup brush kits. You don't have to buy them separately. Most pro kits will have it. They're really great for detailing. This one actually is an art brush. If you can't find these detailed brushes, then I would recommend just going into like an arts and crafts store and finding the smallest brushes that they have. These actually work really well. They're good for watercolor, so they're good for water activated paints. There's a lot of brush sets that you can find that come in sets. So for example, I got this brush set. To summarize, the bigger brushes are all definitely makeup brushes. They're great for powder if the bristles are a little bit separated and they're meant for powder. I would avoid using any face paints with them because of the water. So anyways, that is why I will use more angled brushes, more flat brushes, okay, creams, powders, blending, texture, details. Good for water and cream, not good for powders. If you have made it to this part of the video, good for you, because I'm about to give you the tips on where to find the brushes that I've been talking about. So first things first, they will be linked at the very bottom of the description box. And it's going to be from my website. I actually have an Amazon store where I've taken all of the detailed brushes and the organizers that I even showed to like store my makeup, lighting equipment, holy grail makeup products. Like all of those are going to be at cindychendesigns.com/tools. If some of the brushes like this one do not pop up, it's probably because they don't have that affiliate program, so I would have chosen the most similar brushes. Here are some images of the different types of products that I recommend. Keep in mind, I am an affiliate for this, so whatever you guys buy directly from the website or the Amazon store that I have created will directly benefit making content on this channel. Also, since I use so many detailed brushes and not that much fluffy brushes, look at all the ones in hiding. They don't get used. They kind of just sit there unless I run out of big brushes, and then I dig into my inventory because they're mostly used for powders, and I don't really use powders on my face because they're not as pigmented. Cindy problems. Avant-Garde makeup problems. Some tips on how to use these detailed brushes is, first of all, when you're using them with water activated paints, you're going to want to dip about halfway into the product. When you have dry face paint, you want to wet that face paint first. So for example, I will wet the face paint with this brush. And I'm not going to be using this brush at all for the actual paint. I just want to give it the right texture. It's going to be wet but slightly drying, so it gets almost sticky and tacky. And that is when you can pick up enough pigment that it doesn't dribble down your face or look super translucent. Then you'll take a brush like this, your detailed brush, and you will not use it for mixing, but you'll only take a little bit of the product at the tip and draw as you will on your face. You're going to want to avoid putting the product below this area. You want to be at the tip of the brush, not the tip of the metal, because what that's going to do is if you accidentally press into your skin, which happens quite often when you're drying, this will mark your skin. This will give you an extra mark that you definitely don't want. I've messed up so many times because of it. To clean up any water activated paints with another brush, I would recommend using maybe an angled brush, like so. Just going to take this angled brush, put some water on it, no paints, and then clean around the lines. I hope you find these tips helpful and you definitely have more shopping to do. Sorry, not sorry. These brushes are worth it. If you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the thumbs up button and leave a comment below with the types of brushes that you're gonna be using, you already use. Let's just have a conversation about brushes today. Why don't we do that? If you're new here, make sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. And as usual, stay creative and I will see you in the next one. Bye! I look like I'm about to go clubbing. Boom, 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 boom. I want you in my room. Spend the night together.